the Raekwon's family.
So before we get out of here, just to catch you up on the ACC Big Ten Challenge, it is just as non-competitive as the Gavitt games, but in a different way. The Big Ten has recovered nicely. Turns out all it needed was to play the ACC.
What's the tally at this moment? Are we at 4-2, 6-2? What is it?
6-2. 6-2 Big Ten. I'll run you through it. Iowa won at Virginia. And by the way, Iowa, like I'm with you. I think Purdue is going to pack that building and handle them no problem and move to number 1 in the AP poll for the first time in history. But Keegan Murray leading the nation in scoring.
Is he above 25 right now?
24.6.
Yeah.
24.6 points, 8.9 rebounds, shooting 61.2% from the field. He's a 6'8 forward who is like, I don't want to say a perfect, prospect because he's not, but he's a legitimate prospect. A 6'8 forward, length, can guard in space. If he can consistently make that 3-point shot, he's not doing it right now. Not bad, 34.5% from 3. But if he gets that up to around 38, 39%, he'll be a first-round draft pick. And boy, he has taken a jump in this season. The season after, of course, Luka Garza is off to the NBA. So Iowa beat Virginia. Illinois beat Notre Dame. So the Big Ten started 2-0 in the ACC Big Ten Challenge. Both those games were on Monday night. Then on Tuesday night, Ohio State beat Duke 3-0. Purdue beat Florida State 4-0. Syracuse beat Indiana, double overtime game. That was just weird.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we doing?
That was, and I that game just sucked me in way more than it needed to. Because I'm trying to watch all these games and finish up the court report and all this stuff, and then I find myself just like fully engaged on an Indiana-Syracuse game that it was high. It was like the worst high-scoring game I think I've ever seen in my life. Like, what did Indiana had 110 and still lost? How many teams score 110 and lose? I understand it's multiple overtimes, and obviously the most unforgettable multiple overtime game in the history of Syracuse's program. But just a weird game. And a necessary win for Syracuse, by the way. But that was that just tractor beam sucked me right in, and good on Cuse for getting the win. But IU falls from the ranks of the undefeateds because of that loss.
Yeah, so Minnesota beat Pitt. That's another win for the Big Ten. Wake Forest beat Northwestern. Steve Forbes' team's off to like a 7-1 start. Rutgers beat Clemson. And so that means the Big Ten is up 6-2 in the ACC Big Ten Challenge. And on Wednesday night, Michigan State is favored over Louisville. NC State's favored over Nebraska. Maryland's favored over Virginia Tech. Wisconsin is favored over Georgia Tech. Michigan's favored over North Carolina at North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And Penn State is favored over Miami. So if things go as planned tonight, the favorites win, the Big Ten will finish 11-3 in the ACC Big Ten Challenge. The ACC stinks.
It's 5th at KenPom right now. If you look at if you sort out the Torvik rankings that eliminate preseason bias,
it's impossible to do.
Do you want to know, or should I wait? Should I have you wait just a couple more days?
I already know.
Oh, you got it done. Because you know why?
Because
our good buddy Bart Torvik listens to the podcast and tweeted out after he heard you didn't know how to do it. Did you see the tweet?
I do follow Bart. I did not see the tweet. But Jake Winderman sent me a direct message on Slack.
Not cool.
Explaining to me how to do it. And boy, was it eye-opening.
Woo!
I just changed the numbers.
That's right.
And then boom, it was like, look how awesome Wagner is or something. I don't remember.
If you are in the nerd set that knows about Torvik but isn't familiar with this, if you want to get a sense, because right now, again, to remind viewers and listeners, when we talk about KenPom and we talk about Torvik and other predictive metrics, they are baking in previous program performance and preseason bias into their rankings, because that's obviously what you're going to try and do if you're predictive. But if you simply want to filter out and see how well a team has played to this point and eliminate the prior bias, if you go to barttorvik.com, and all you got to do is at the top of the page, you'll see a start date and an end date. Just change the start date to what's not the default. So it's 11/1/2021 is that That's what filters in preseason bias. Just change that date to November 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or whatever, and you will have it filter out to see how teams have played. So right now, based purely on performance and efficiency to this point, the 5 best teams in the country this season have been Arizona, then Gonzaga, then Purdue, then Baylor, then Houston. On the note of the ACC, though, it only has 3 teams in the top 40 to this point. That's what GP's talking about with the conference having a lot of issues. Virginia Tech's actually been the best performing team, even though it has 2 losses. It's 10th. Duke, with its loss, drops to 13th. And then you've got Florida State at number 35. In terms of overall conference rankings at KenPom, which still have predictive bias baked in, the ACC has already fallen to 5th. It's ahead of the Pac-12, but not by that much. And then there's plenty of daylight between the Pac-12 at 6 and the WCC comfortably ahead of the American. WC is 7, and then the American is 8. ACC, it's gonna lose this Big Ten ACC challenge, which will be significant in the macro sense in terms of the non-conference is moving along here. We're getting some more league games coming in and getting introduced, but at a certain point, there are not going to be high quality options in the conference. You can make the case that Duke playing against Ohio State on Tuesday night was Duke's last chance to play a team that'll finish in the top 20 or 15 of KenPom for the entire season. And this is how non-conference scheduling can come back and bite you. Duke, if it wins the ACC and only loses 3 more games the rest of the season, then it's going to have a case to be a number 1 seed. That might well happen. But right now, the teams with 1 loss in the ACC are Duke, NC State, not projected to be an NCAA tournament team, doesn't have its best player for the entire season, Manny Bates. Georgia Tech, right now is 68th at KenPom. Wake Forest, which is playing well. Shouts to C. Forbes. That was a nice win, a close win. Really as good of a game as we had on Tuesday night against Northwestern there. Those are your 1-loss teams, but the likes of Virginia Tech, Florida State, 2 losses. Notre Dame's 3-3. Little concern already for a team that I thought might be good enough to make the tournament there. Syracuse got a win it needed to have. Virginia, 5-3 at this point. I'm just not sure. And then you got teams at the bottom, which won't be able to compete for much. Pittsburgh at 2-5, man. I mean, Minnesota ended a losing skid on the road that was 646 days old. And Ben Johnson has 1 player on the roster this season. I have something on this in the court report. How about this? Minnesota loses at home. It's 2-5. And I understand if you're a Pitt fan and you're dialed into a podcast on December 1st, shouts to you. We love you because this has got to be super frustrating. Ben Johnson, new Minnesota coach, first year, right? The only player he has on his roster this season who earned minutes previously at Minnesota is Eric Curry, who was a grad assistant, had left basketball, and then had to convince the coaching staff that he wanted to play 1 more season, had to prove it to them. He's actually earning some minutes here. You know him well because he's actually from Memphis. He's a wonderful story. But that Minnesota team, which has plenty of seniors, but a lot of transfers, goes into Pitt and wins a 1-point game at the end. I know Pitt's not that good, but to me, I looked at that game, that result, and I thought, man, this really is a reflection on just like ACC top to bottom. Rough night for them on Tuesday, rough night for them on Monday. It's not going to get much better. And I don't see how the ACC is going to have a situation here where you have the likes of Duke, FSU. We'll see what Louisville can do, and I'll give you the times and tips on these games for Wednesday in just a second. But Duke, FSU, maybe Louisville, Virginia Tech, maybe throw in 1 more team, Virginia, North Carolina. Like, it's going to need separation. You're going to have tiers, a top tier, top 4 or 5 teams that pull away to give the ACC its best chance at getting really good seeds. Right now, we sit here on December 1. You can document this and then go remind me when I've long forgotten about it when we get to March here. The ACC right now is looking like a 4-bid league. I will go on the record and say the league gets 5, but I think asking for more than 5 is borderline impossible at this point when you look at what the teams haven't done in non-conference play. You could salvage that to a minor degree by really pulling off some upsets in the ACC Big Ten Challenge on Wednesday. I've got my doubts about that. But yeah, this is certainly surprising for a league, Parrish, that has not been elite as of late. Last season, it was the 5th best league in America. Right now, it rates as the 5th best league in America. And in 2020, it was the 4th best league in America. The ACC, in fact, has not rated, again, per KenPom, as the number 1 conference in the country since 2006, 2007. Ironically, that was the year Duke was down. It got beat by VCU in the first round of the NCAA tournament. But it's been a while since this was an elite conference, and it's time we started talking about that a little bit more.
The ACC only has 1 team in the top 25 at KenPom right now. It's Duke. For some context, the SEC has 7 in the top 25. The Big Ten has 6. The Big 12 has 4. The Pac-12 has 3. The WCC has 2. The Big East also only has 1. Villanova.
If you rank, so you've got 1. Just off the top of your head, who do you trust? Not who you think is best, whatever. 2, 3, 4 ACC. Duke is obviously still going to be 1. Full strength right now for you. Pick them in order right behind Blue Devils, 2, 3, 4 in the ACC. Who do you trust most long term right now?
Florida State and maybe Virginia Tech. And that's crazy because Virginia Tech just lost 2 games in Brooklyn.
They did. They were, yeah. I don't know. We'll wait and see.